difference between markets and products. Second, to assemble a go-to list of data sources. Third, to practice sizing with reports, top-down and bottom-up methods. And fourth, to identify trends using the Pestle and Porter 5 forces techniques. We start this module by reviewing some basic market terminology. We strive to describe markets based on the need they have. We want to avoid describing it based solely on the products we offer, as Wang did with its word processors in the 1980s. Wang went bankrupt as consumers fled to general-purpose PCs. Wang thought of its offering as a standalone word processing hardware instead of thinking themselves as filling the need to create and edit documents. We define a market as a group or groups of customers buying products from sellers. We define a potential market as all people in a population with interest in a product or service. We define an available market as people with interest in the means or money to pay. Available market is a much more useful concept than potential market. You might want a Ferrari automobile, but not be able to afford it. You would thus be in the potential market, but not in the available market. We define qualified available markets as those who may legally purchase the product or service when restrictions exist, such as in the case of alcohol, tobacco, and firearm products. We define a served market as the markets or market segments that the company decides to service. An industry is a group of sellers offering similar products and services. For example, the white goods industry, which makes appliances, is comprised of some familiar names such as GE, Westinghouse, and Samsung. A subset of an industry is called a category. In our white goods example, we could think of the high-end category with luxury marks such as Wolf, Sub-Zero, and Thermador. To collect the data we need for market insight, we turn first to secondary research, which is data created by others, then to primary research, which is data gathered by ourselves. Examples of secondary data include government data, analyst reports, business and trade publications, and so forth. Examples of primary research include surveys, commission reports, and interviews with company sales personnel. We start our focus on secondary research with government data. The United States publishes a wealth of data from many departments. Just a few examples include data from the Census Bureau, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics, the Bureau of Economic Analysis, as well as local information from chambers of commerce. To help organize all that information, the United States government established a classification system to classify the data by industry. The system is similar to the Zone Improvement Program, or zip code, used by the United States Postal Service to classify geographic areas. The U.S. started with its Standard Industrial Classification System, or SIC code, in 1987. The North American Industrial Classification System, or NAICS code, was started in 1997 when SIC codes proved to be inadequate. NAICS codes classify virtually all industries, all using 20 industry groups. The code adds more digits to the original codes to identify more and more specific industry segments. Thus, long codes indicate more specificity than short codes. This slide shows all 20 industry groups from Code 11, which is agriculture, forestry, and so forth, to Code 92, which is public administration. For example, we can examine Code 52421, the NAICS code for insurance agencies and brokerages. We can use NAICS 52421 to research data on the industry segment. In doing so, we can find government data on revenue, number of establishments, and other important information. The data is generally quite accurate because the data is pulled from tax records, which are subject to audit. Along with textual information, the U.S. government supplies charts and graphs to illustrate the data. Another source of secondary data is reports from analyst firms, which can be obtained as a ready published report or commissioned. Analysts cover popular industries for both business-to-business, or B2B, and business-to-consumer, or B2C, offerings. Examples of B2C analysts include Arbitron, Dun & Bradstreet, and Nielsen. Some B2B analysts include Forrester, Gartner, and IDC. The reports often include data relevant to market sizing, but can be quite expensive, often exceeding $1,000 per report. Many analyst firms offer subscription-based pricing if many reports will be needed. Still more expensive are bespoke or commissioned reports. Marketing analysts get exactly what they need, but at the price of several $1,000s and weeks, if not months, of waiting. Many other secondary information data sources exist. We can simply search on Google, Bing, and other search engines for relevant information. Analyst companies often purchase new market reports with press releases with teaser data to get people to purchase the reports. The teaser data could be exactly what you need. If you deal in large markets such as that for cell phones, you're in luck because many business press periodicals cover those markets. Nearly every industry maintains trade associations that cover the industry. Individuals can often purchase memberships to those associations for little or no cost and gain access to high-quality, relevant information. Finally, we turn to social media. The advantage here is that information can be quite up-to-date. The big disadvantage is that facts are not checked, so you have no assurance that the data is correct. Caveat emptor. This is the end of Lecture 1. In the next lecture, we continue our discussion on market insight by discussing market sizing.